Once I heard Clancy speaking about the golden rule: do unto others what you would like to be done upon yourself. When you raise your own children, and as you grow older, you see your children and grandchildren, wouldn't you expect that they visit you at least now and then, if not 24/7? Are we at least doing that much? Once I had a discussion with my Guruji, and he was very happy to hear when I said that I have never seen my father or my mother raising an eye towards each other, or never spoken in a raised voice or a tone. He was very happy. He said, "You are one of those exceptional families." And I'm sure many across the globe have such a family too. When they grow older, what is our role towards them? Is looking after them too much, or overly taking care of them with too much, or granting them a lavish life of health and joy towards the sunset of their life? I'd like to share with you a story. It's an ancient epic story. There's a character called Shravan. His parents' wish was to visit many holy shrines in the neighborhood, in their areas, maybe 300, 400 kilometers, maybe 300 to 400 square kilometer areas. Unfortunately, they were old and they were blind. Boy who was younger, maybe in his 20s, he took upon himself. He created something like a raft on both that you can keep on his shoulder, and he carried his parents on his shoulders, day after day, visiting many shrines. In modern era today, we don't have to carry our parents on our shoulders, but somehow carrying our parents in our minds, in our hearts, has become a bit too much heavier. The load has become difficult to be carried on for more than such a period. Can there be moderation when it comes to love? When you love someone, would you say, I don't need to love a little bit, I don't need to love too much? There has to be some moderation. Will that love work in our relationship? So, the individuals who brought us into this world, whom we as incoming souls chose the parents, they showered their love, they raised us with a lot of sacrifices and love. When they need our help, can I turn my head away from that? Even if they abused us. If you really, really, really want to punish the parents who abused you once upon a time, return that abuse with tremendous love and see what happens to them. And what happens to you? There will be instant transformation in both. Our duties, our responsibilities goes higher when we have such loving parents. I cannot say that I have reached my limits of serving them. No, they will be tragic when we say enough, I have done enough. That will be very wrong. In fact, when we miss out on an opportunity of serving such parents who showered their love, missing that when we know that they are no more, would you be able to say sorry to them? It will be a tragic moment for us too. We missed an opportunity, and for missing such an opportunity, rest of our life will be, pining with this guilt. Oh, I could not do something I could have done. Flipping the whole thing, once I heard Clancy speaking about the golden rule: do unto others what you would like to be done upon yourself. When you raise your own children, and as you grow older, you see your children and grandchildren, wouldn't you expect that they visit you at least now and then, if not 24/7? Are we at least doing that much? I think we have a tremendous responsibility towards our parents. And if they remain unhappy, thirsty, hungry for our love, then what is the point of leading such an existence full of luxury, full of peace, and full of harmony? With whom are you creating this harmony? With your spouse, with your children? Is this your limited world? What happened to those who brought you into this world? So, fundamental thing that if one has to create harmony within a family and as a result in a community, in the whole world, this cannot happen unless and until we look after each other, starting with our own. Failing this, how will you say my community is happier? It's not possible. If one really, really wants to take a revenge, there is no better way than returning abuse with love. Think for a moment. Abusive parents, especially in the case of children at a very young age, can create a pattern of hurt that later on in life can lead to dire psychological consequences. How to deal with emotions that result from this kind of deep abuse? Can we actually override that and be kind towards an abusive parent with the same moral obligations that we feel toward a caring and loving parent? Even towards loving parents, I think we have some sort of reservations for one reason or the other. Abused ones develop a mistrust towards majority, having failed with parents who were trusted completely. No, there are so many ways in which abuse happens. Forced feeding a very young child is like overriding the little one's inner compass. When a child does not want to eat and when you force them to eat, is this not an abuse of some sort? There are times when parents give the children the silent treatment. They ignore the child to show that they are not living up to their expected behavior from parents. This is very immature. This is even worse than physical harm. Another card that parents sometimes use and which leaves a deep scar on the child's mind with a lot of guilt and shame is that the victim card. When parents say things like, "Oh, see, it is because of you that I am in such a situation," the child takes up these feelings and feel guilty about the whole situation. Of course, there is the classical situation of physical abuse when parents threaten to beat up a child or actually do so. Psychological abuse is just as violent. Take, for example, the case of parents comparing siblings or favoring one child over the other. It is so demeaning for the children. At times, such criticism that sounds so negative is terribly harmful. Like when parents make statements such as, "You always do this, you don't listen." Even when children grow up, parents can continue to be abusive towards them. Parents retort to emotional blackmailing at times of financial manipulations in order to get what they want from their children. Have you not heard often enough parents saying things like, "If you do not take care of me or do as I say, then I'll have you excluded from my inheritance. Your sister or brother is better at this, and I would likely leave everything to them." Another terrible manner of abuse is especially seen in diverse families. This is manifested by emotional disconnect. Just to please your newfound toy in the form of your new partner or spouse, you do not look after your children so well that attention towards them somehow fails. Instead, caught up in the new relationship, you somehow choose to disconnect yourself from your children just to satisfy your new partner. Sadly, this is rather a common pattern in divorced families. Using guilt tripping or humiliation is observed in many families. The love of parents is supposed to be unconditional, isn't it? How then can it be a manipulative force? A mother's love, especially, is supposed to be always unconditional. There is no question of a reward mechanism there, or the use of bargain in love and affection. So, how come we begin using such things in our relationship with our own children? Abuse also occurs when parents use their power to continue to ensure that children remain dependent on them. I have also observed that parents at times blame their children for having sacrificed a successful career or missing out on certain opportunities in life. This choice is entirely the parent's own, and by expressing it in this manner to the child can create a terrible feeling of guilt, especially when parents blame their children for a failed marriage. Such a blame can create one of the worst feelings of unworthiness in the child. Sometimes abuse manifests in apparently positive things, such as when parents push their children to follow the lifestyle they themselves lead, or to follow the faith that they have been inculcated from their early childhood. Have we not observed parents pushing their children to attend Sunday church or go for some group meditations? To my mind, pushing children in such a manner is a form of abuse too. Parents abusing each other can also be classified as abuse towards the children. This is much like a secondhand smoke that a child is subjected to. Abuse by parents towards children of a very young age, or a teenager, or an adult, will have a different implication in their psyche. Out of these, the worst is when you are affected as a child. A teenager can at least in some manner manifest his or her anger and do not permit the negative to settle in their mind. They let go of it through anger to a large extent. They are quite capable of reacting violently to the abuse of parents. The question is, should one shut the doors once and for all on such parents? Should one try to forgive when desires to punish someone creeps up in the heart? Or the ego says, how could I have been treated like this and I got to do something about it? Under those circumstances, we generally lose our compass because of this anger. So, is there any other solution to erase these emotional scars? Erasing these emotional scars can begin to some extent, I think, once we accept what has happened and we learn to see that we were not party to it. The moment we realize that we are not responsible for it, then we begin to find some level of solace.
We often try to control the mind, silence it, or fight it. But what if the real key is learning how to guide it instead? The next video explains this shift.